Hey everybody, Teresa here from Inspiration Cards, and I'm back with our second card for this month's Stamp Jammies online card class featuring the Friends Are Like Seashells stamp set. If you missed out on subscribing for the full class kit, which would include all of the card supplies along with the stamp set and some coordinating designer series paper, don't worry, you can still get all the card supplies for just $25, and that includes shipping to anywhere in Canada. If you live outside of Canada but still want to participate, that's not a problem. Just send me an email at inspirationwiththeresa@gmail.com and we'll figure out what that little extra needs to be to tack on for that extra shipping for you. So let's get started with this week's card. So here's this week's card. And this week I'm doing a monochromatic effect with the crumb cake, which also is the ink pad color that comes with the full class kit. So what you'll need for this week's card is the large piece of crumb cake cardstock. You'll have 2 pieces of Very Vanilla that are fairly large in size. Then you'll have a smaller piece of crumb cake along with a Very Vanilla piece of cardstock that's just a little bit smaller than that piece, and then one more little piece of Very Vanilla. So to start us off, I'm just going to fold the cardstock base, our crumb cake, in half. Here we go. Nice, crisp, clean fold. And then with one of the larger pieces of Very Vanilla, I'm going to stamp a little something on the corner. I'm a big fan of the starfish. You can use whatever seashell you want, or if you want, you can stamp a phrase on the inside of your card as well. So just gently tap your stamp onto the ink pad. And then right down in that bottom right corner is our starfish. Here we go. So I'm going to set that aside. And I'm going to use the second large piece of Very Vanilla. I'm just going to grab a scrap piece of paper. And what's going to happen on this one here is we're going to create a bit of a background. We don't have to worry about covering the full piece of cardstock, because as you can see from the card sample, we actually just need to focus on the edges because this is going to go right in the center. So I'm going to use the sand dollar image along with what I can only imagine are supposed to be grains of sand. And again, it's all in crumb cake, that nice monochromatic effect. All right, I'm actually going to start with the sand dollar image. And I've got my scrap paper because I'm going to be stamping not completely onto the cardstock, so some of the images will be off to the side. Go. And again, I'm not going to worry about that too much because that's nice and close to the center. There we go. And I'm doing it in an odd number, just to kind of help keep with the idea of it being kind of random. All right, and from here, I'm going to fill in the spaces with our grains of sand. So this one I'm not going to worry about too much, but I am going to, every once in a while, just flip it around, just to kind of mix it up a little bit. Do a little extra right there. And one more. There we go. So there's our nice border. I'm going to set that off to the side. And from here, what you'll want is the next to largest, so the medium size piece of Very Vanilla. And for the images, you're going to want some of your larger seashells. So I'm going to be starting with this one here, nice large image. And I'm also going to use these two here. So there we go. And I'm going to start with this one here, because this one I want as the focal point on the card. There we go. So again, just going to gently tap that onto the ink pad. And that's going to go right in the center. Doesn't have to be perfectly in the center, that's okay. There we go. And then next up, I'm going to use the next size up. There we go. Or I should say next size down. And so just going to switch up the direction of it. Again, kind of keeping with that random piece. Go, and we'll do one more along here. There we go. And our last one here to fill in our other spaces. Now, if you wanted, once this is dry, you could actually add some Wink of Stella to some of the seashells, or all the seashells on this piece of cardstock. That would actually look really nice. And there we go. And for our last little piece of very vanilla, and it literally is very little, this guy right here, we need our thank you. There we go. So that's just going to go stick that right on your block. There we go. Now careful not to press too firmly or you'll end up with ink all over your block. And I've left a good amount of space around the phrase. So we're actually going to add a couple of the opal rounds on either side. So we're done with our stamping, so I'm going to set that aside. And let's pull in our other pieces here. All right, so I've got my Stampin' Seal. You can use whatever go-to adhesive you have, whether it's a tape runner or liquid glue, whatever it is. There we go. There's the inside. And then this next piece here is going to go on the card front. So on the outside of our crumb cake card base. There we go. Just like that. All right, and now we're gonna stick the larger seashells onto our smaller piece of crumb cake cardstock. So again, whatever your go-to adhesive is. And this one's gonna have a smaller border around it than your card base. There we go. And you'll also have, not to mention, your linen thread. So this is going to get, you'll have enough that it'll wrap around twice and make a bow. want to add a little adhesive, or if you have any glue dots, this is actually a good time to use that. Sometimes I will actually add in a glue dot right where I want my knot to go. So in this case, I would actually stick one just right there. And it actually helps keep my ribbon or my twine nice and tight and right where I want it. There we go. And then this is going to get tacked on with a few dimensionals on the back. And this is a fairly large piece, so that's why I'm putting that extra one right in the center there. There you go. All right, and so this is going to go right on top of our card front, centering it as best you can. There we go. And then we have our thank you. That's going to go just down in the bottom corner. So I'm just going to add a little bit of my Stampin' Seal just along the top. And I'm actually going to take, if you have mini dimensionals, that works great. I'm actually going to cut a large dimensional in half. And so that way, make sure that's in the right spot. There we go. So we still get it nice and popped up, but we don't have to worry about it interfering with this piece here. There we go. And so just going to wedge that right close against this piece here in the center. There we go. And of course I did mention those opal rounds. Love these, so sparkly. And of course they go so nicely with this stamp set. So just one on either side. Just using the spatula end to my take your pick tool to scoop those up. And you're done. So I also have one other card featuring the Friends Are Like Seashells stamp set. So this one here I actually created with a Whisper White card base. But as you can see, the front is not Whisper White. So I used the new blending brushes with some crumb cake ink and just blended around the edges to get that nice kind of beachy, sandy feel. And then we've got our grains of sand around the edge. And then I paired it with some Petal Pink cardstock and Petal Pink ink for my seashells. So there you have it. I hope you enjoyed this week's cards. And if you did, make sure that you like and share this video with your friends. I'll be back next week with our third card featuring the Friends Are Like Seashells stamp set. And just so you know, I'm taking a break for the summer, but I will be back in September for the next Stampin' Jammies online card class. And in September, I'm going to be featuring the Quiet Meadow stamp set. So you have until August 12th to sign up for the full class kit, which includes the Quiet Meadow stamp set, along with some coordinating designer series paper and all of the card supplies you'll need for the 4 cards for that month's class. I hope to see you then. In the meantime, you can check out my blog at inspirationcards.com, my Facebook page, Inspiration Cards, and of course, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. We'll see you soon.